my 5 and 5, and let me at the outset declare my interest. My interest is in preventing housing as a commodity to be traded on the market. My interest is in standing behind a policy and a government that treats housing as a basic human right, and that we build public housing of the highest standard. That's my declared interest before I use up my few minutes. And I thank Sinn Féin, although I do have some difficulties with some parts of the motion, but I certainly fully endorse the ban on the rent increases over 3 years, a temporary reintroduction of the ban on evictions I've absolutely no problem with. Time won't allow me to go into my difficulties with the in situ tenancy, and also with another aspect of the motion in relation to emergency planning. I tremble at the thought of what we might give more powers to the government. In relation, I thank them, Sinn Féin, for bringing the motion and putting the spotlight once again on the consequences of successive government policy. Government policy has led to a situation where houses are not affordable, where all of the government policies now, including the HAP, including the tenant in situ, are all together to keep the prices artificially high. None of this should be happening, and it's all piecemeal without an overall picture. An overall picture for me being public housing, where the houses, including the price of my own house, has to come down in value. It simply has to come down if we're seriously talking about housing as a public right, a human right. Now, we look at Galway, and 19.4% the rents increased last year in the city, equally high or almost as high, 13.8 in the county. We're looking at a city where 263 are homeless, and this morning briefly I referred to a person in a wheelchair at my office yesterday, homeless, nowhere to go. And the homeless services, we know from the task force, which I'll come back to, services are under extreme pressure, and there is currently a waiting list for homelessness, people in homelessness. And when you ask how long that is, Minister, they tell us how long is a piece of string. Now, I know you're not going to give me that answer, but I brought this up with the Tithíocht this morning, and his answer was simply, without any understanding, deliberately or not, I don't know, of what it's like to be homeless in a wheelchair and nowhere to go. And I'm not given to using individual cases, because we have enough information on a general level to tell us the policies of this government and previous governments are absolute disaster. The Simon community, very helpfully, every 3 months do a report called Locked Out of the Market. We're due this one, we're still waiting on it. And continuously over the last in the last 4 reports, they have consistently been no properties available to rent through HAP in any category in Galway city or suburbs. And that's been going on and on for years, absolute years. Now, parallel with that, we have major land in Galway, in the docks, in Kent Station, in Sandy Road and elsewhere, with no master plan. I'm going to repeat for the record, no master plan. Kent Station doing its own thing, the docks doing its own thing. And I know from the task force that the Harbour are going to produce a master plan sometime in the future, and part of that, the public land owned by them, will be used for affordable housing. Not public housing, not social housing, affordable housing of a particular category to suit whatever plan they're going to produce, but no master plan. A task force set up in 2019, we have no report from them, although the Minister told me he has it, and in due course it will be revealed to me, like the book of Revelations from the Bible, all will be revealed in due course. But certainly a sense of outrage, 2019, a task force and no report. I would have thought, other than presentations on a regular basis, that they would have come back with an analysis of what the problems are in Galway, what are the constraints, a focus on the absence of a master plan and so on. Nothing, Minister. I don't want to be negative. I want public housing on public land. I want choices for people, that they can afford to buy a house or they can rent a house for life, because security of tenure is absolutely vital. And when we look at the tenant in situ that's been pushed by you, and obviously as an emergency measure, I won't object to it, but if you have a situation like in Galway where the house is valued at 190,000, the landlord wants 250,000 or something like that, 50,000 in the difference. The local authorities saying we won't buy it. I can see why, and yet we're pushing to buy it. All we're doing is artificially keeping the prices of houses up. I'll stop for my colleague.
Thank you, Deputy.